The night was silent and the small house stood in darkness. Inside, John was sleeping deeply, his mind lost in dreams. He did not hear the clock ticking. He did not hear the wind outside. But something strange was happening in his room. John felt a weight on his chest, heavy and unusual. At first he thought it was a dream, maybe a nightmare pressing on him. But when he opened his eyes, the dream was gone, and reality shocked him. A face was staring back at him only inches away. It was not the face of a human. Her skin was smooth and purple, shining faintly under the dim light. Her eyes were wide and glowing, green like liquid glass. Her lips were slightly open and her breath was warm on his face. John froze, unable to move. The figure was sitting on top of him, her hands pressed against his shoulders. For a long second, neither of them spoke. His heart pounded, his throat dry, fear holding him still. Then the figure whispered in a soft but urgent voice, "Stay still. Do not move, you are not safe." John's eyes widened, his mind racing. Who was she? Why was she in his room? And more importantly, why did she look like no one he had ever seen before? He tried to speak, but only a broken sound escaped his lips. The alien woman pressed her finger gently to his mouth. "Silence," she whispered. "Again, they will hear you." John's fear grew stronger, his body shaking. "What? Who are you?" He finally managed to say in a trembling voice. The woman's glowing eyes looked into his, almost reading his thoughts. "I am your new housekeeper," she said, her voice calm yet filled with hidden tension. John almost laughed, but the fear was too real. Housekeeper? This was no ordinary woman. Her body was thin but strong. Her skin shimmered with strange patterns. She looked young, but also timeless, like someone who had lived far longer than any human. John tried to push her off, but she pressed harder. "You must not move," she warned. "They are near." His ears caught a sound then, a faint metallic noise from the floor below. It was not the sound of pipes or old wood. It was sharp, unnatural, like claws scratching against steel. John's blood ran cold. The woman tilted her head, listening carefully. Her wide eyes narrowed, her lips tightening. "They have entered," she whispered, almost too soft to hear. John's thoughts spun wildly. Entered? Who? What was she talking about? And why was she in his house on top of him, speaking of danger in the middle of the night? The silence of the house was broken again, this time by a deep, low vibration coming from the basement. John had lived here for months and never heard such a sound. It was as if something large and heavy was crawling beneath the floor. He tried to sit up, but the alien woman pressed him down once more. Her strength surprised him. She was far stronger than she looked. Her glowing eyes stared deep into his, filled with both warning and strange care. "If you move now, you will die," she said. John's breath caught in his throat. The words were not a threat. They were a warning. And the way she said them, calm, certain, made him believe her. He lay still, his mind torn between fear and disbelief. "Why are you here?" he asked, barely above a whisper. The woman leaned closer, her face lit by the glow of her eyes. "Because your house is not safe, and you do not even know it." Another noise shook the air, a heavy thud, like something slamming against the walls. Dust fell from the ceiling. The bed shook. John's fear turned to terror. Whatever was downstairs was not human. The alien woman slowly released her grip, but she did not move away. Instead, she turned her head toward the door, her entire body tense. Her lips parted as she whispered again, "They are here already." John could not believe what was happening. One moment he was sleeping in peace, the next an alien housekeeper was on top of him, warning him of unseen danger. Was this real or some strange dream that refused to end? The woman's hand moved toward her side. From nowhere, she pulled out a small device, metallic, glowing faintly blue. John had never seen anything like it. She held it ready, her eyes fixed on the door. Her voice was firm now. "Stay behind me and do not speak, no matter what you see." John swallowed hard, his body shaking. His fear of her was now mixed with something else. Fear of what was coming, fear of what was already inside his house. The scratching sound. grew louder. Something was moving up the stairs step by step. Each creak of the wood made his heart beat faster. The alien woman's body stiffened, her glowing eyes unblinking. John wanted to scream, but her earlier warning echoed in his mind. Silence, or they will hear you. And so he lay there, trapped between fear and disbelief. His new housekeeper, not human, not from this world, was the only thing between him and the unknown. He realized with cold terror that his life would never be the same again. The silence of the room was heavy, broken only by the sound of John's heartbeat. The strange woman with glowing green eyes remained still, her sharp gaze fixed on the door. John lay frozen, his body trembling, his mind screaming for answers. Then the sound came again, slow and deliberate, a dragging noise on the floorboards as if claws were scratching wood. Each step was closer, each sound sharper. Something was climbing the stairs, something that did not belong in his world. John wanted to ask again, wanted to demand an explanation, but the memory of her warning, silence, or they will hear you, sealed his lips. The woman's body shifted slightly, graceful yet tense. She looked like a hunter ready to strike. Her glowing skin reflected the dim light as she raised the strange device in her hand. The door rattled, the handle twisting slowly. John's stomach dropped, his breath stuck in his throat. The door creaked open, just an inch, then two. Through the gap, John saw nothing at first, only the shadow of the hallway, but then something moved. A long, thin hand, gray and bony, slipped through the opening. Its fingers were too long, too sharp, ending in claws that scraped against the doorframe. John's blood ran cold. This was no thief, no intruder from the street. This was something alien. The woman whispered so soft he barely heard. "They found you faster than I expected." Her voice carried no fear, only certainty, as if she had faced creatures like this before. The door opened wider, and the thing stepped inside. John's eyes widened in horror. It was tall, thin, its skin pale and stretched over its bones. Its face was long, with hollow cheeks and black, endless eyes. It moved like a shadow, silent but heavy. The air in the room felt colder the moment it entered. John gripped the blanket, his hands shaking. He wanted to scream, but his voice refused to come. The alien woman stood in front of him, shielding him. Her glowing green eyes locked on the intruder. She spoke again, her voice stronger now. "You do not belong here. Leave this house," the creature hissed, its sharp teeth flashing in the dim light. The sound was not human. It was like metal, grinding against stone. John's body shivered from the noise. The creature stepped closer, ignoring her command. Suddenly, the woman lifted her device and a thin beam of blue light shot out. It hit the wall beside the creature with a loud crack. The air smelled of burnt metal and smoke. The creature froze for a moment, then tilted its head unnaturally, as if studying her, as if deciding whether to fight or flee. John's fear grew stronger with every second. "What is that thing?" he whispered, unable to hold it in. The woman didn't turn to him, her eyes never leaving the intruder. "It is a hunter," she said. "A creature that feeds on the energy under this house." John's heart stopped. Energy? Feed? What did she mean? But there was no time to ask. The creature leapt forward, moving faster than John thought possible. The woman reacted instantly, pushing John back with one hand. With the other, she fired her device again. This time, the beam struck the creature's chest, sending it crashing into the wall. The whole house shook, dust falling from the ceiling. The creature shrieked, a sound so sharp John covered his ears, but even wounded, it crawled forward again, its black eyes burning with hunger. The woman moved. Quickly, her movements precise and practiced. She kicked the creature back, her glowing skin flashing as she struck it with strength no human could match. John watched in disbelief, his fear mixing with awe. This strange housekeeper was fighting a nightmare with skill and power beyond imagination. Finally, with one last strike of her device, the creature collapsed. Its body twisted, then dissolved into smoke, leaving only the faint smell of ash behind. The room was silent again. The fight was over. But John's world had changed forever. Breathing heavily, the woman lowered her weapon. Her glowing eyes softened as she looked at him. "You are safe. For now," she said. John sat up, his chest rising and falling quickly. Safe? He felt anything but safe. What was that thing? Why was it in my house? His voice cracked with fear and confusion. The woman stepped closer, her expression calm but serious. "It came for you," she said, "because you live here, because your presence feeds the energy field under this place." John shook his head. "That doesn't make sense. I'm just a man. I'm nobody." But her eyes told him otherwise. "You are not nobody," she replied. "You are the reason they are here." Her words echoed in his mind. The reason. Him? He had no answers, only more questions. Why him? Why his house? And who exactly was this strange woman who called herself his housekeeper? As if sensing his thoughts, she spoke again. "My name does not matter, not yet," she said. "What matters is that you must trust me. If you don't, you will not survive the night." John looked at her, the fear in his chest mixing with doubt. Trust her? An alien who appeared out of nowhere, who fought monsters in his house? But deep inside, he knew the truth. He had no choice. Another sound echoed from below, deeper this time, louder. The floor trembled, the walls shook. The fight was not over, and John realized with dread that the intruder had not been alone. The floor was still shaking when silence returned. John sat on the edge of his bed, his chest rising and falling fast. The smoke from the dead creature still hung in the air, heavy and sharp. His room no longer felt like home. It felt like a battlefield. The strange woman stood near the door, her glowing green eyes watching the dark hallway. Her weapon hummed softly, ready for another fight. John wanted answers, needed answers, but fear kept his voice trapped in his throat. Finally, he spoke. His words shaky. "What are they? Why are they after me?" The woman turned slowly, her face calm but serious. "They are hunters," she said. "They are drawn to this place, and to you." John shook his head, his voice rising. "But why me? I'm no one. I don't understand." The woman stepped closer, her glowing skin shining faintly in the darkness. "You live above an energy field," she explained. "It is invisible to human eyes, but it exists. This field is old, older than your world itself. It is like a beacon, and creatures from other dimensions follow it. They feed on it, and anyone close to it becomes their target." John's stomach twisted, his head spinning. "You're saying my house is a magnet for monsters?" "Yes," she replied without hesitation. "And you are the strongest point of that magnet. Your body connects with the field more than any human I have ever seen." John tried to laugh, but the sound was broken and weak. "This is crazy. This is insane." His voice cracked as he looked at her. "I just bought this house last year. No one told me about energy fields or monsters." The woman's expression softened, just for a moment. "You were never meant to know," she said. "But the field chose you. That is why I am here." John stared at her, his fear mixing with anger. "You say you're my housekeeper, but you're more than that," he said. "Who are you really?" Her eyes glowed brighter as she looked at him. "My real name and my true home would mean nothing to you," she said quietly. "But you may call me what you like. I was sent to protect you because if you die, the field may collapse, and when it collapses, the gate will open wider, wider than ever before." Her words chilled him more than the creature had. A gate? Open wider? The meaning was clear. More monsters, stronger ones, maybe even an invasion. John rubbed his face with shaking hands. He wanted to wake up, to find this was all a nightmare. But the scratches on his wall, the dust on his bed, and the smell of smoke told him otherwise. Before he could speak again, another sound echoed from below. A loud thud, heavier than before. It was followed by a deep growl that made the glass in his windows rattle. The woman's head snapped toward the door. "They are testing the walls," she whispered. "They are looking for weak points." John's body went cold. "How many of them are there?" he asked, his voice breaking. She did not answer immediately. Instead, she closed her eyes, her glowing skin pulsing faintly. When she opened them again, her expression was grim. "Too many," she said. "More than I can fight alone." Her honesty cut deeper than fear. John's throat went dry. "Then what do we do? What do I do?" She stepped closer, kneeling so her eyes met his. "You must listen to me," she said firmly. "Do not leave this house tonight. Do not touch the walls. Do not open any doors. If they get inside again, stay behind me. If I fall, you must run. Not outside. Deeper into the basement. There is something there you must see." John's heart pounded harder. "The basement, I've never even used it. It's just an old storage room." Her glowing eyes fixed on his. "It is not just storage," she said. "It is the heart of this house. The field is strongest there. And it is the reason I came." Her words sank into him like cold water. All this time he thought she was lying, thought she was a trick. But now, as the walls groaned under unseen pressure, he believed her. Still, one question burned in his mind. "Why me?" he whispered. "Why did this field choose me?" For the first time, the woman looked away. Her glowing eyes flickered with something like sadness. "That answer," she said softly, "is hidden in your blood." John's breath caught, his body stiff. His blood. What did she mean? Before he could ask, the house shook violently. A loud crash echoed from below, and the sound of wood splintering filled the air. "They are inside," she said sharply, standing tall again. Her weapon hummed as it charged. Glowing bright blue, John's fear twisted into raw panic. The hunters had not given up. They were breaking through. The woman glanced at him once more, her voice steady but urgent. "This is your warning," she said. "If you want to live, trust me. Stay close, do not look away, and whatever you do, do not bleed." Her last words froze him. Not bleed? Why? But before he could ask, the door shook violently. Shadows flickered under the crack of light, and the true nightmare began again. The door shook violently, each slam louder than the last. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the air grew colder. John's breath caught in his throat as the sound of claws scraped against the wood. The strange woman, his so-called housekeeper, stood tall, weapon glowing blue in her hand. Her green eyes narrowed, her body tense, ready to fight. Then, with a final crash, the door burst open. The wood splintered, flying across the room like broken glass. John shielded his face, his heart racing. When he looked again, the nightmare was real. 3 hunters crawled through the doorway. Their bodies were thin, their limbs too long. Skin stretched tight over bones, pale and sickly. Their black, endless eyes locked on John. Each step they took filled the room with scratching, grinding sounds, and the smell, sharp, metallic like rust and blood, stung his nose. John's hands shook as he gripped the blanket. His mind screamed to run, but his body refused to move. The woman raised her weapon, her voice low and firm. "Stay behind me," she said. The first hunter leapt forward, faster than John's eyes could follow, but the woman was quicker. Her blue beam cut through the air, striking the creature's arm. The room lit up in a flash, and the hunter shrieked, its skin burned, curling into smoke. But it did not fall. It hissed and leapt again, claws slashing. The woman twisted, dodging gracefully. Her movements were sharp but elegant, like a dancer in battle. She struck the creature across its chest, sending it crashing into the wall. The other 2 rushed in, crawling across the floor like spiders. Their jaws opened wide, teeth long and sharp. John's stomach turned, fear nearly choking him. But his eyes stayed fixed on the fight. The woman fought with impossible speed, her glowing skin flashed with each strike. Her weapon hummed louder, cutting through the air. One hunter lunged for John, its claws stretched out only inches away. John froze, his body stiff with terror. At the last second, the woman stepped between them. Her hand shot forward, pushing John back. Her weapon fired, blasting the hunter. In the chest, the creature screamed, collapsing into smoke. John fell onto the bed, his body shaking. He could hardly breathe. He realized the truth. Without her, he would already be dead. But there was no time to think. The third hunter leapt. From the side, it crashed into the woman, both of them tumbling to the floor. Her weapon clattered across the room, landing just out of reach. John's heart stopped. The hunter clawed at her, snapping its jaws close to her face. She grunted, struggling to hold it back with her bare hands. Her strength was incredible, but the creature was stronger than the others. It pushed her down. Its black eyes fixed on her glowing skin. John's fear battled with something else inside him. Desperation. He looked at her weapon on the floor, glowing faintly blue. It was only a few feet away, but his body trembled, his legs heavy. Could he even use it? The hunter roared, its claws digging into the floor near her head. The woman's voice strained as she shouted, "John, the weapon, take it." Her words jolted him like lightning. He threw himself from the bed, crawling toward the weapon. His hand reached out, fingers shaking as they closed around the strange metal. It was warm, almost alive, humming with energy. The hunter turned its head toward him, hissing. John raised the weapon, not knowing how to use it, but as his finger brushed the trigger, the weapon responded. A beam of blue light shot out, striking the hunter in the back. The creature screamed, its body twisting as smoke poured from its chest. The woman pushed it off and rolled to her feet. Together they fired again. The hunter shrieked one last time before dissolving into ash. Silence returned, heavy and thick. John dropped the weapon, his hands shaking. His chest rose and fell as, if he had run a marathon, his mind was spinning. He had just killed a monster. Something not human. Something from another world. The woman picked up the weapon and looked at him, her glowing eyes softer now. "You did well," she said, her voice calm but steady. John shook his head, fear still gripping him. "I almost died." "We almost died," he whispered. She nodded slowly. "Yes," she said, "and this is only the beginning." John's stomach twisted at her words. Only the beginning? How many more of these things were there? The woman walked to the broken door, scanning the hallway. "Their numbers are growing," she said quietly. "They will not stop, not until they have what they want." John swallowed hard, forcing the words out. "And what do they want?" Her glowing eyes turned back to him, serious, unblinking. "They want you," she said. "Your blood is the key. It calls to them, it feeds them, and if even one drop falls, they will never stop coming." John's body went cold, her earlier warning echoing in his mind. "Do not bleed." He stared at her, fear tightening his chest. "What are you saying?" he whispered. "That I'm the reason for all of this?" She stepped closer, her voice softer now. "Yes," she said, "but you are also the only one who can end it." Before John could reply, another loud crash came from below. The floor shook violently, louder than before. Shadows moved under the doorframe. The fight was not over. The war for his house, and for his life, had just begun. The house was silent again, but John knew it was only a fragile pause. The air still carried the smell of smoke. The floor still shook faintly as if something below was waiting. He sat on the bed, his hands trembling, his mind trying to understand what had just happened. 3 hunters were dead, but how many more were still outside? The strange woman, his so-called housekeeper, stood by the broken door. Her glowing green eyes searched the hallway, every muscle in her body tense. When she was sure the way was clear, she turned back to him. Her voice was calm, but there was no comfort in it. "They will return," she said. "They always return, but before they do, you must know the truth." John swallowed, his mouth dry. "The truth?" he asked, his voice breaking. What truth could explain all of this? The woman walked slowly into the room, the blue glow of her weapon lighting the shadows. She stood in front of him, her eyes fixed on his. "You think this house is normal?" she said softly. "But it is not. It is built on something older than your kind, something that connects worlds, an energy field, a gate hidden under your feet." John shook his head. "You keep saying that. A gate, a field, monsters. Why is it my problem? Why me?" Her eyes glowed brighter as she answered, "Because the field chose you." He blinked, confused and afraid. "Chose me? What does that even mean? I didn't ask for this." The woman's voice lowered, almost a whisper. It is not about what you asked. It is about what you are. Your blood carries a signal, a mark that ties you to the gate. That is why the hunters come. They smell it. They hunger for it. John's chest tightened. His blood? The same warning she gave him earlier. Do not bleed, came rushing back. You're saying I attract them? That they want me because of something in my blood? She nodded. Yes. You are not only a man living in a house. You are the key to holding the gate closed. If your blood falls into their hands, the gate will open wider, and this world will not survive what comes through. John's head spun, his body heavy with disbelief. He wanted to argue, to call her a liar. But after what he had seen tonight, the monsters, the fight, the way she protected him, he knew she wasn't lying. His voice cracked as he asked, Then who are you? Really? Why are you here? The woman looked at him for a long time before answering. Finally, she said, I was sent not as your servant, not as your housekeeper, but as your guardian. John stared, his heart pounding. Guardian? By who? Her eyes flickered with a light he had not seen before. My people, she said softly, we have been watching your kind for a long time. Most humans cannot feel the gate, but you are different. Your bloodline is connected to it. That is why you were chosen, and that is why I was sent to protect you. John's throat tightened. He didn't know what to say. He was just an ordinary man, or at least he thought he was. Now he was being told he carried something that could decide the fate of the world. The woman's voice grew firmer. You must understand. You are not safe. Not here. Not anywhere. The hunters will keep coming, but they are not the only danger. If other worlds learn of you, if other beings discover what you are, they will come too, not to kill you, but to use you. John's skin crawled at the thought, used like a tool, a weapon. He shook his head, anger rising in his chest. I didn't choose this. I don't want it. Why me? The woman's expression softened. Her glowing eyes showed something almost human. Sadness. I do not know why the field chose you, she admitted. But I know this. If you do nothing, you will die. And when you die, this world will burn. The room fell silent, heavy with her words. John felt small, powerless, trapped in a nightmare he couldn't escape. But deep down, he also felt something else. Responsibility. He wanted to deny it. But her words planted a seed inside him. Another sound broke the silence. A heavy crash from below. The hunters were not gone. Not yet. John's fear returned, but this time it was mixed with something different. Determination. He looked at the woman, his voice still shaky but stronger than before. If what you say is true, then what do I do? How do I stop them? She studied him for a moment as if measuring his strength, then she said, You will not stop them tonight. But you will survive tonight if you trust me. And if you live, you will learn what must be done. Her words carried weight, heavy but certain. John nodded slowly. For the first time, he began to believe her fully. The house shook again, dust falling from the ceiling. The growls from below grew louder, closer. The woman raised her weapon, her glowing skin brightening in the darkness. Her voice was steady as she gave him the last truth. Remember this, John. You are not just a man. You are the lock that holds the gate shut, and the world will either live or fall. Because of you. John's chest tightened at her words. Fear, disbelief, anger, and something new. A heavy sense of destiny. He realized his life was no longer his own. And the night was far from over. The house groaned under the weight of silence. John sat near the broken bed frame, his hands still trembling, his chest heavy. The woman stood tall in the doorway, her weapon glowing faint blue, her eyes fixed on the shadows, but her words still echoed louder than the growls below. You are the lock that holds the gate shut, and the world will either live or fall because of you. John's stomach twisted, his mind spinning. He wanted to reject it, to scream that it wasn't true. But deep inside, he knew she wasn't lying. Everything he had seen tonight, The hunters, their hunger, the way they rushed toward him, proved it. Finally, his voice broke the silence. So what now? What am I supposed to do? I'm no hero. I can't fight monsters. I can barely hold a weapon. The woman's glowing green eyes softened, though her body remained tense. You do not need to fight like me, she said. But you must choose. John frowned, his fear mixing with anger. Choose? Choose what? Her voice was calm but sharp. Choose to face this truth or choose to turn away. If you accept, I will protect you, teach you, and prepare you for what is coming. But if you refuse, the hunters will find another way in. And when they do, you will not only die, you will take this world with you. Her words cut deep. John's chest tightened, his thoughts torn. He had lived an ordinary life until tonight. Work, bills, quiet evenings. He had never asked for destiny, never wanted responsibility. And yet, it was now sitting on his shoulders, heavy as stone. His voice trembled. You make it sound like I don't really have a choice at all. The woman's eyes glowed brighter. There is always a choice, she said, but only one will keep you alive. John stood slowly, pacing across the room. The broken door let in cold air. The smell of ash still hung in the space. His hands ran through his hair, frustration boiling inside him. This is insane, he muttered. Why me? Why not someone stronger? Someone smarter? The woman stepped closer, her presence calm but powerful. Because it is not strength or intelligence that binds you to the gate, it is blood. You cannot change what you are, but you can choose what to do with it. John froze at her words. He looked into her glowing eyes and saw no cruelty, no trick, only truth, harsh, unshakable truth. His chest tightened again, his voice low. And if I say no, if I refuse? The woman's expression darkened, her jaw tightening. Then you will not live to see another sunrise, she said flatly. And the hunters will break through. When they drink your blood, the gate will tear open. Nothing will stop what comes after. John felt the air leave his lungs. The weight of her words pressed down harder than fear. It wasn't only his life at stake. It was the world's. He was trapped in a nightmare where walking away wasn't possible. The silence stretched. Between them, then, a sound shattered it. A deep roar from below, louder than before. The walls shook, the windows rattled. Dust rained from the ceiling. John flinched, his heart racing. The woman raised her weapon again, her voice steady. They are restless. The longer we wait, the stronger they become. You must decide now, John. Run. Stand with me. His body froze, but his mind raced. He imagined running, leaving the house behind. But her earlier warning returned. The field is tied to you. You cannot escape it. If he ran, the hunters would follow, and more people would die. There was no escape, only confrontation. John clenched his fists, his fear boiling into a spark of anger. He looked at her, his voice firmer than before. Fine, I'll stand with you. But don't think it's because I want to. It's because I can't let them win. For the first time, the woman's lips curved into the faintest hint of a smile. Not mockery, not relief, but respect. You have chosen, she said, her voice calm. And that is the first step. The next will test you more than this night. John frowned, confusion in his eyes. What next? What are you talking about? Her glowing eyes flickered with a strange light. There are more hunters below, but they are not the true danger. The real threat is what commands them. And when it comes, your choice will be tested. You must be ready. John's stomach dropped. What commands them? He asked, his voice almost a whisper. But before she could answer, the floor below cracked with a deafening boom. Wood splintered. The house shook violently. A jagged hole tore open in the floorboards. From it, a blast of cold air rushed upward, carrying with it the sound of screams. Not human screams, but something darker. John staggered back, his heart racing. The woman's weapon glowed brighter, her body glowing faintly in the dark room. Her voice was firm, unshaken. Your choice has been made. Now you must survive it. John swallowed hard, fear and determination colliding inside him. He was no warrior, no hero, but he was something else now. The lock, the key, the reason this battle even mattered. And as the shadows of more creatures rose from the crack in the floor, he knew there was no turning back. The floor split wider, the boards cracking under the pressure of unseen force. From the jagged hole, shadows rose like smoke, twisting and stretching. John's body froze, his heart pounding. The woman stepped forward, her weapon glowing brighter than ever, her green eyes fierce. The hunters crawled out more than before, their black eyes locked on him. Their sharp teeth glistened, their long claws scraped against the broken floor. But this time, John noticed something different. They were not moving on their own. They moved like soldiers following something stronger, something hidden in the dark below. Then the ground trembled as a new figure emerged. Taller, broader, more terrifying than the rest. Its body was covered in thick armor-like skin, its face long and twisted. Its eyes were darker than night, but deep within them burned a red glow. It did not crawl. It walked. Each heavy step shaking the floor, John stumbled back, his voice barely a whisper. "What is that?" The woman's glowing eyes narrowed. "That is their leader," she said. "The one who commands the hunters, the one who has been waiting for you." The leader's voice cut through the room, deep and sharp. It did not speak in words, but John still understood. It was not sound, it was inside his head. "Give me your blood, lock of the gate, and I will set you free." John clutched his head, the voice stabbing like knives in his skull. He fell to his knees, gasping for air. The woman rushed to him, grabbing his shoulder. "Do not listen," she shouted. "Do not let it in." But the voice pressed harder, darker. "Your guardian is lying. She does not care for you. She needs you alive only because without you, she dies." John's eyes widened, confusion cutting through the pain. He looked up at the woman, his breath shaking. What does it mean? What is it saying? For the first time, her glowing eyes flickered with something he had not seen before, hesitation. The leader's voice grew stronger. "She feeds on your energy. She survives because of you. When you woke and found her on top of you, she was not saving you, she was saving herself." John's stomach dropped, his mind spinning. Memories of that first moment flashed back, her sitting on his chest, her strange glow brighter near him. Could it be true? The woman's jaw tightened, her eyes locked on his. "Yes," she said at last, her voice sharp with honesty. "It is true." John's chest tightened, his breath shallow. You need me to live." Her voice softened now, filled with something almost human, sorrow. "Yes, my body cannot survive long on this world. Your energy binds me here. Without you, I would fade. But do not mistake this, John. I protect you not only because I need you. I protect you because you are the only one who can stop them." The leader's laugh echoed in John's mind. A dark and cruel sound. Lies wrapped in care. "She binds you like a chain. Join me. Give me your blood, and you will be free of her." John's heart raced, torn between fear, betrayal, and survival. The woman gripped his shoulder tighter, her glowing eyes fierce. "Do not listen. If you give him what he wants, the gate will rip open and this world will drown in shadows. You must choose, John. Choose now," the hunters hissed, circling closer, their leader looming above them. The house shook, the walls cracked. John's mind screamed with the weight of choice, freedom with the leader, or trust the woman who had lied but also saved him. His fists clenched, his fear twisting into anger. He stood slowly, his voice trembling but strong. "No, I won't give you my blood, you'll never have it." The leader roared, its red eyes burning brighter. The hunters leapt forward. The woman raised her weapon, firing beams of blue light that cut through the air. Smoke and screams filled the room as the battle exploded. John ducked, the ground shaking under each strike. He saw the weapon in her hand glowing brighter than before. But he also saw her body falter, her glow dimming. She was weakening, the fight draining her. In that moment, John realized the shocking truth in a new way. She needed him not just to live, but to fight. His presence gave her strength, his energy fueling her weapon and her body. Without him, she would fall. The leader lunged, its massive claws slamming into the floor. The woman fired again, striking it in the chest. It staggered but did not fall. Its dark voice filled John's mind once more. "Give me one drop. Just one, and I will tear her apart before your eyes." John's fear reached its peak. But instead of breaking, something inside him hardened. He grabbed a piece of broken wood from the floor. He shouted, his voice raw. "You want me? Then come and take me." The leader roared and lunged at him. But at the same moment, the woman cried out, her weapon unleashing its brightest beam. The light struck the leader as John drove the broken wood deep into its chest. The room exploded. With sound, light, and smoke, the hunters shrieked and dissolved into ash. The leader roared one last time before collapsing into black dust. Silence fell, heavy and final. John dropped the wood, his body shaking, his breath sharp. The woman stood. Beside him, her glow faint but steady. Her green eyes met his, filled with exhaustion and relief. "You chose well," she whispered. "You chose to fight." John stared at her, his chest heavy. He remembered the leader's words, her own confession. "You need me," he said quietly. "Without me, you can't live." She nodded slowly. "Yes, but now you know the full truth. It is not just me who needs you, it is your world." John's chest tightened with the weight of her words. He was no longer just an ordinary man. He was the lock to the gate, the key to survival. And, though the night was over, he knew the war had only begun.